Hi, and welcome back to my returning viewers. Today's video, I will be covering a Warbond that quickly became one of the community's favorites, primarily due to one of the weapons it houses, but we'll get into that in just a bit. Anyway, this is How To. Starting with page 1, this page grants us the Coyote, one of the strongest ARs in the entire game, even after its changes, and the full Federation Blade armor set. And to top it all off, it also gives us the first pass of the desert skins, which I think look pretty nice. Page 2 is where we get most of the fun stuff, with it giving us the expendable napalm, the spear gun, and the full scorpion set. And finally, to close us off, page 3 gives us the rest of the desert skins, the solo silo, and the pineapple grenade. But before we get into the general overview, here's a better look at the armor sets and capes. Alrighty, overview time. To kick things off, I would like to start with the Coyote. The Coyote is one of the most glazed weapons of the game currently, and the community's baby. And I'm not gonna act like I don't understand why. It has fire damage, a good mag size with plenty of spares, and even medium pin, making it currently the Swiss Army knife option for the Helldivers weapon sandbox. Further cementing its Swiss Army knife role is its surprising amount of attachments. Now, normally I don't really go over attachments, but in the case of the Coyote and the amount of creativity I've seen when it comes to builds, I just figured I'd at least give it a mention. Even without those attachments, though, it's still great at tackling basically any form of chaff in most medium-tiered units, thanks to its medium pin and fire damage over time. Overall, it's a great piece of content, and despite me finding it a little overrated, it's still popular for a reason. Up next, let's discuss the expendable napalm. The napalm wall niche is surprisingly good, with it having the power to take out lower end heavies fairly quickly, and with the ability to just delete entire hordes of chaff on top of its light AT capabilities, it makes the expendable napalm surprisingly capable. The call-in time as well is a plus, as it's not going to take ages for you to get it back, unlike how the EAT was on release, which also gives it a better chance when comparing it to the EAT. Now it's time for me to talk about my favorite piece of content from this Warbond, the solo silo. While it's a little confusing and hard to get use out of at first, it can be a monster if you learn what maps and situations it thrives in. The missile itself is insanely powerful, with its damage only being behind that of a hell bomb. In general, it's just unrivaled when it comes to firepower at a long distance. However, that range can be hard to take advantage of, mainly due to terrain. On most maps, your missile will be blocked by either buildings or mountainous terrain. So when calling down the silo, not only should you make sure to put it in an open and higher up area, but also take into account its travel path when launching it with its guider. Don't forget to also take into account the guider taking up your stratagem weapon slot whenever you pick it up, so you don't accidentally leave a core piece of your loadout behind. As for what units to use it against, I would stick to firing it at super heavies or large swarms of enemies. It can also be used to soften up a base before you go into it and do an objective, or just finish it off in general. Just remember that it can't really destroy buildings, so don't just fire it and expect it to take care of everything for you. Overall though, it's still a great stratagem when used right, and like I said before, one of my personal favorites. Next up, we got our third and final stratagem from this Warbond, the spear gun. The spear gun is another strange but surprisingly viable weapon, with it being able to pretty much damage anything besides super heavies, and having the bonus of it also doing gas damage. Now when it comes to what the spear gun actually does well against, it does pretty good against anything, but specifically lower tiered heavy units and medium tiered units. And in general, it acts kind of like a soft AT weapon, so it can help for support regardless. Now onto the grenade. When it first came out, it was pretty bad, but now I'd say the pineapple actually has a decent spot in the game. It's nothing crazy or meta-defining, but it's another solid crowd control grenade that shreds through lightly armored enemies. Lastly, let's discuss the passive, which, I'm gonna be real, is mid as hell. It's just another status effect damage reduction with another passive slapped on. It's not bad or anything, but it's so unoriginal that for the most part, I'm just gonna ignore it. And honestly, if you're really that indecisive on an element you want to ignore, just pick something else. But anyway, with the overview out of the way, let's get on to the factions. Starting with bugs, the Coyote is objectively the best weapon in this Warbond, as it completely trivializes any chaff unit on the bug front, and honestly, if you just vaguely aim in the direction of the threat, you're going to get a good chunk of kills. It's genuinely just straightforward overall. The other notable thing in this Warbond for bugs is the grenade, silo, and expendable napalm. Napalm being the most versatile here, with it destroying literally everything other than super heavies, and even then, if you hit a weak point like on the ones with the Impaler, you just outright kill it. While the silo is fairly niche, as most bug planets have terrain that stops it from being useful, it can absolutely clear the objectives if used properly. It's also fun to shoot at Hive Lords, so that's a plus. The pineapple is good, nothing really to talk about. It shreds chaff and is a solid contender for any other standard lethal grenade. Now, as to why I didn't say the spear gun was notable, it really just struggles to keep up with the hordes on higher diffs, and is outright outshined by other gas options. It's fun to use, but in my opinion, it's about the same as using the Constitution, albeit slightly more useful thanks to the gas and just over-penetration as a mechanic in general. Overall though, this Warbond is amazing on bugs, and this is my genuine first 5 out of 5. Even the weakest thing here, the spear gun, which I really didn't mention, still does absolutely okay and is more than usable. Moving on to bots, for bots most of the weapons here lose their viability mainly due to the increased armor value on most of the chaff, so I'll mainly be focusing on the Coyote, the Silo, and the Spear Gun. Sorry Napalm, you're not bad here, but there's just better options. Starting with the Coyote, it once again shreds chaff, and thanks to the medium pin, it also does a good job at taking out lower end heavies such as Hulks and tanks if you hit them in their weak spot. The fire as well, surprisingly enough, absolutely shreds through bots as well, significantly against Devastators if you struggle to land headshots. Up next is the Solo Silo. While yes, it doesn't take out Detector Towers or other high-tiered Psi objectives, what it does do is take out literally anything else. While it can be inconsistent, when it does land properly, it absolutely shreds anything the bots could field, clearing you a path right into the objective, which is honestly just as good as trivializing them. The Spear Gun on bots is surprisingly goated. While it wasn't bad on bugs, there's just way more stuff to talk about here thanks to its heavy pin, which allows it to take out Hulks and other heavies, and it has some good use against lighter chaff thanks to the gas. While not doing a lot of damage, it can help finish off Factory Striders or other super heavy units. It just has more options and less enemies to get overran by or shut down. Overall, 4 out of 5 on bots. But now let's finish off with the Squids. On Squids, everything here is a great use other than the Solo Silo and the Spear Gun for obvious reasons. As for the Silo, sadly the terrain on Squids rarely allows it to fully shine, and the shielded objectives and bases lead to it not being nearly as potent for clearing a path. But you know what does once again slap? The Coyote. The Coyote is pretty much the same song and dance I've talked about for the past few times, mainly due to its fire damage and medium pin, with it being able to shred through anything, including harvesters. I won't talk about how it dominates too much once again, but just know it's really good. The expendable napalm can cleave through hordes of voteless and even murder flesh mobs surprisingly quickly. Even overseers can struggle to survive the flames from this thing. And while it's not as good as killing harvesters or leviathans, it's still such a great chaff clear that I think it makes up for it when compared to the EAT. The other great thing here is the pineapple grenade, and I won't really talk about it much because I'm sure you can just tell how great it is based off the background gameplay here, but it just slaps and is great at its job. Overall, 4.5 out of 5 on Squids. Overall, this Warbond gives you tools for every front, and while some aren't as useful as others, it still gives you a tool at the very least, which is more than what I can say for most other Warbonds. The Coyote as well is just great on all fronts, and while there are better options, if you want an AR that can just do it all, then this is the one for you. Overall, it's just a goated Warbond, and one of the best ones we've gotten since the Warbond's downsized. 4.5 out of 5, damn near perfect. I just want to take a moment to thank you guys for getting to the end of the video, and while my channel hasn't recently been pulling as many views as I'd like, I still appreciate the small little audience that I do still attract. Y'all are goated. Anyway, I'll see y'all next week, hopefully with a cutting edge video, as I've put it in every poll so far when it comes to voting, and it's just gotten shafted. So I'm going to throw anyone who wants to see it a bone. But see y'all next time. Bye-bye.